Very good morning. Sanivusela sanamukela lo mhla ehleleni seyishayile insimbi esithupha lo mhla ekuseni sesemakusiniphilile lapho nobukela khona umsakazo Eswatini TV. Lwetalami ngulungelele magagula kunemnguni Sifiso Nxumalo. How are you this morning?
Philile Thombe njani wena?
Philile.
Starting the day at 17 degrees Celsius ngolelo muhle kuthembisa nje ukuthi kutaba lusuku loluhle kakhulu leli tawubalela libito lami ngosifiso ni waka Nxumalo. Really happy to join you again this beautiful Thursday morning to track some of the developing stories around the country. We will be looking at some of tinzaba lesitibona tingase tigijima kakhulu kutentuthuka lomuhla ekuseni, particularly those that impact the country economically and socio-economically.
Yeah, kokhumbuta ukuthi ungakhona nekusibukela ka YouTube Eswatini TV Kusile tfukelelo ka YouTube. Sidabe sine baka Minister of Home Affairs batokhuluma ngembiko labawukhokhe itolo iVital Statistics report yeminyaka wa 2022. Ethuleke itolo ke ngalokusemthethweni yavete ukuthi 28,541 children were born in the year 2022 and 5,968 people registered for deaths in that year. Kulinombolo letike bantfwana labaneminyaka langaphansi kwalesihlanu kwabhalisa labalinganiselwa ku 60% within 60 days emva kokuthi babeleke. Sidabe sina Assistant Regional Civil Registrar Phumlani Zwane tosihlatiyela nje leti nombolo. Kanti ke lo mbiko uphinze uhlatiye neti nombolo tebamfu labashadile, laba divorced nalabashiye emhlabeni. Sidabe sina namhlanga for 6.
Ngiyafuna active kakhulu tena balaba divorceile lungelele ngoba thina nje nawe sisabuke khona ukuthi sisafuna ngene emshadweni. Kufuna ukuthi sikhole lokugeja letinombolo ukuthi ingabe umshado kulesikhathi lesiphila kuso ufeasible kangakanani. But really excited to hear those conversations lendaba now regarding that. We will also be joined by Taiwan Technical Missions Chi Cheng Lee, project manager ke we fruit tree production and marketing project. A project kelena yacanjwa kuthola nje high value fruit trees that will replace sugar cane cultivation, as well as to try and increase farmers' incomes from the field. The project kelena live la kangwane lesile enjoy iminyaka lesikhombisa kusukela nje la iphakamisa live le Taiwan lapha kangwane through Taiwan Technical Mission. It has since fully joined the fruit tree industry from seedling propagation to tinzaba nje tekumaketha as a game changer socio-economically as well as economically. Stakhuluma naye project manager wa fruit tree production and marketing Mr. Chi Cheng Lee lotawube ahambisana na Benjamin Dube lotawube ameleleke litiko letekulima lalapha eKhabe basebenzisana kakhulu nalitiko letekulima basahambisa loluhlelo luya nalena emaphandleni.
Mbukeli asibuke tihloko lethamba imbili kumaphephandaba. Let's look at Times of Eswatini. Anzi kuleti hamba embili bacete demands 6 million malangeni from government, and he alleges he was stripped naked, paraded in front of wardress. Kuleti leti hamba embili MPs arrive in slick halls titfombekeleta leti chengisa timoto letehlukene malunga eParliament lafike ngato eParliament. Kuleti leti hamba embili Butana withdraws vetting D-Day for Senate hopefuls. State funeral for NATCOM ngokusho statement esikhokhe uhulumende kanti kule report nje besikhuluma ngayo yaveta ukuthi more customary marriages compared to civil rights.
Beautiful cars indeed, that Bentley. Kanti ke kutemidlalo lethamba embili Times of Eswatini. Ngomishi back at Wesleyans, and that is a major boost for Emahab Giants. But the seasoned shortstopper joins maroon and white outfit on 1-year deal. Nyokwenza ba Ngomishi le gijima embili totonga letlapha Times of Eswatini kutemidlalo. Kanti ke lenye lehamba embili 20,000 emalangeni loan deal for Bulls Menzi Sithole. Bobane Highlanders have reportedly paid a substantial amount of money to bring back their former midfielder Menzi Sithole. Those are the leading stories, and maybe kubuka nje leqhamuka ngaphandle kwakuleli lethi gijimako Rohit flattens Afghanistan. Wendeke history kulolo hlangothi lolo. Ngilento lethamba embili.
As well as Eswatini Daily Times this morning, Leti Hamba Mbili, Eswatini Daily News, NatCom's burial date announced to be accorded a state funeral. Kansibuletini Hamba Mbili EPC Pension Fund calls mass meeting.
Kanti-ke kutemidlalo, Eswatini Daily News, the leading story, bruise on friendly match, Sihlangu coming to defend. Belgian coach Hugo Broos says Sihlangu Semnigati will be all out to avoid defeat, rather than to go all out for a win against his side in the international friendly match, which is on Friday at FNB Stadium. Lesinye City Yazulwini records first win against Ilovo. Lesagcina City steps taken to avoid repeat of Liverpool VAR era.
All right, so it's 6 minutes after 6. Dabatlete market has been in Zabata Swati.
Umsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV utibophelele kuhlonipha nekulandzela umgomo wetekusakata loweluswe libandla letekuchumana eVeni.
Ngephansi kwalomgomo sitimisele kusakata tindzaba tenteya ngaleso sikhatsi tindzaba letide magama laqosheme letitsembekile letitsinza tonke tinhlangothi naletisebaleni
kusukela kutepolitiki, tetemphilo, tekulima, tetinkantolo netemhlaba wonke jikelele siniletsela tindzaba njengoba tinjalo ngaleso sikhatsi letenteka ngaso.
Kanti kulomsakato siphindze sikulethele lonke luhlobo lwetemidlalo kusuka emidlalweni welibhola letinyawo kuye emidlalweni ledlalelwa ematafuleni kanye naleto letichamuka ngaphandle kwakuleli.
Leti tindzaba lowutiletselwa ngumsakazo wetithombe iEswatini TV.
Kwelo muhle emukelana tindzaba indlu yabayesikhulu income eMaswati langemashumi lamathatfu nesihlanu banconyelwa ke kubadi imphunga. Kubhekeke ukuthi indlu yabayesikhulu ikhethe timphunga letilishumi lokubo babe labasihlanu kanye ke nabomake labasihlanu.
Bekeleke indlu yabayesikhulu lemsebenzi wendlu ehloniphekile ngalesibili lapho ngegunyotha khona ngumthetho lobuke kona kukhethwa kwawo emalunga lalishumi ayo indlu yetimpunga. Indlu yabayesikhulu ke ibese iyancoma incoma yona emabito awo emalunga lalishumi latawubese ke avotelwa la khona endlini yetimpunga.
Sibongile noNozi Ndlela, kube na Nkosingiside Lorraine Ncumalo, kube na Nonhlanhla Khabo Dlamini, kube na Bongiwe Mbingo, kube na Fezeka Nothando Dlamini, kube na Shongwe Dlamini Mcebo, kube na Dimpho T Masuku, Goodness Khanyisile o Khanyisiwe Malambe o Khanyisile, Lizzy Funekile Nkosi, Linda Ncumalo, kube na Bus Alexia Dlamini, kube na Lindiwe Patricia Ngwenya, Wandile Sizwe Themba, kube na Sibusiso Mdzebele, kube na Ndumiso Mdluli, kube na Malinga Mbongiseni, kube na Zombodze Robert Makagula, kube na Sicelo Cedusizi Dlamini, kube na Tony Ngosikhona Sicalisa Sibanze, kube na Bhutana Samuel Dlamini, kube na Thando Lwenkosi T Dlamini, kube na Shedrack S Maphosa, kube na Phinda Malangeni Dlamini, kube na Christopher Muzi Mathebula, Celmusa Ernest Mvoti, Simanga Thwala, kube na Mzolwandle M Gamethe, kube na Ntando Yenkosi P Mlangeni, Muzwandile LC Hlatshwayo, Richard Sabelo Shongwe, Siphelele Majaha Mkhonda, Patrick P Mavimbela, Majoba Makagula, Adam Mthethwa, Thokozani Mamba.
Njengoba ke yona indaba yesikhulu seyiwabitile lamabito noma ke seyincomile ukubheka kulesikhathi lesi sale bahlolisiswa babuka ukuthi indzaba temthetho babuka ukuthi indzaba ta umthelo nakulokunye etindzabeni eSwatini TV kubika Samtel Swekhoza ngasikhumbuzo Dlamini eParliament.
Kanti-ke malunga eParliamente akhuthate ukuthi kube nekubambisana endlini iParliamente isachubeka nemsebenzi wayo weminyaka lesihlanu. Lokhu-ke malunga akuvete ngesikhathi umcondzisi wetinkhulumo eParliamente Jabulani Mabuza etfulela indlu lisekela lemcondzisi wetinkhulumo lokungumadala Mhlanga kulandzela ukuthi babusiswe ngemakhosi.
Sibili ichubekile indaba yesikhulu nemsebenzi wayo welisuku lapho khona umcondzisi wetinkhulumo eParliamente Jabulani Mabuza etfulele lendlu lehloniphekile lisekela lemcondzisi wetinkhulumo eParliamente Madala Mhlanga kulandzela kubusiswa ngemakhosi.
Nani malunga siyanicela ukuthi noma ngakulukhunukwana si debate debates vele by their nature aba robust sometimes tempers akhuphuke but ningakhohlwa nalokuthi awuphela nabo labacondzisi batalwa bafati nebahlonishwa nabo mabatawuvama kube into abangani ama standing orders mawutawudadisha lama standing orders impilo yakho itaba mnanze eParliament.
Emalunga endlini abongele lo mcondzisi nelisekela lakhe babonga nemave ngwenyama lawaphathise indlu isatochubeka nemsebenzi wayo kuleminyaka lesihlanu letako.
Mr. Speaker, lo honorable simgabe sonke landlini lonke live namhla Mr. Speaker nalikhuluma nami noma nalikhuluma nemuntu lola ngekhathi endlini lithi honorable.
Uma siParliament sibambisene sebenta sinemoya munye sineliphupho linye silandzela umthetho live litaba nekuthula kuthula ke nokutaba seParliament kutaba nemthelela lemihle nasevela.
The Attorney General, the learned Attorney General, ngiyena lesinikwa iConstitution yekwakuthi us guide whereby sekune tinkinga when it comes to legislation. Let us not allow ukuthi sithatha siyainterpretela umthetho.
Siyacela ukuthi Mr. Speaker vele akwendeke lokuthi bese ba divided indlu Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker indlu bese divided kwenda ukuthi ngasasebenzeki landlini.
Indlu yabayesikhulu bese iyaguca ngemva kokuthi income labo labayobada imphunga. Etindzabeni eSwatini TV kubika Samtel Swekhoza ngasikhumbuzo Dlamini eParliament.
Uhulumende uthi utawuchubeka nekucinisa tinhlelo takhe kucinisekisa inhlalakahle yemvana wenvombatane lapha eveni. Kanti-ke yakhuluma ngesikhathi kugujwa lilanga lemvana wenvombatane mabhalane lomkhulu wehhovisini leliPhinland vonankhulu Melusi Masuku uthi imigomo leyahlukene lesukunyiswe nguhulumende levikela kuhlukubeteka kwemanvombatane kanye naso sonke sive kuyinkhomba yendlela uhulumende latibophelele ngayo kulwa nalo lonke luhlobo lwekuhlukubetana.
Siyakhuthata nakubatali ukuthi basakhulisa abantwana labamanvombatana kanye nalabafana bakhumbule ukuthi babakhulise ngekuconza ukuthi babanakekeli balomunye futhi bayadzingana empilweni. Ngaphandle kokushiya ngemuva abantwana lababafana ngiyaqiniseka ukuthi uhulumende utimisele ekuthuthukiseni impilo yabantwana labangemanvombatana.
Lobuke emahhovisi enhlangano lebuketi indzaba tebamfana kuleli United Nations Population Fund Margaret Twala uthi lenhlangano itinikele ekutheni yelekelele bamfana bemamvombatana lokufaka ekhathi bafana kucinisekisa inhlalakahle yabo kuleli.
The country is part of what is referred to as early and unplanned pregnancies campaign, and that on its own is part of ensuring that any adolescent girl who becomes pregnant and drops out of school is reintegrated back to the education system.
Sihlalo wenhlangano lebuketi indzaba tebulili i-Gender Consortium Sonic Dlamini uthi kusekuningi lefanele kwendiwe kuvikela kuhlukubeteka kwemfana wemfombatane.
Gender is not just a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for peaceful and sustainable society, as we want in Eswatini.
Kucinisekisa inhlalakahle yemfana wemfombatana nekuvikela kuhlukubeteka kwaso sonke sive live leSwatini lisukumise umthetho we-Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence lokwenta kube licala lelibovu kuhlukubetana kwalo lonke lihlobo. Enyangeni lephelile hulumende uphindze wasukumisa imigomo lemithatfu lehlose kucedza kuhlukubetana. Ngina Simuva Shongwe eMbabane.
Hulumende watisa eMaswati ukuthi umphathi wamaphoyisa lo sangasekho emhlabeni William Dlamini utawuhlonishwa nge-state funeral kanti-ke inkonzo yesikhumbuzo itawubanjelwa esontweni i-Free Evangelical Church kaManzini ngemgcibelo mhla ti-14 enyangeni lesetulo. Itawuqala-ke nakugabanxa insimbi ye-10 ekuseni bese kuthi umngcwabo wakhe ube ngelisonto mhla ti-15 kulesetulo. Itabe-ke ibanjelwe ekhaya lakhe eMahlangatsha. Inkonzo yemngcwabo itawuqala ngensimbi ye-4 ekuseni ukhona nawo umlinzelo. Likhulile linani lebantfwana labatalelwe esibhedlela takuleli eminyakeni lophelile uma licathaniswa neminyaka wanga-2021 njengoba-ke lifike ku-28,541 kanti-ke ngeminyaka wanga-2021 belime ku-22,733. Akhuluma the George kaManzini ngesikhathi kwethulwa umbiko wetelu-bhaliso kuleli umcondzisi wetempilo Dr. Vele P. Okelo uthi lokukhula kwaleli nani kuyinkhomba ukuthi litiko lenta tonke taba tekucinisekisa ekutheni imininingwane esibhedlela igolekwa ngendlela lefanele.
Lokhu kusho ukuthi bantfwana labadalelwe etibhedlela baphindze babhaliswa bakhule nga-5,808 ngeminyaka wanga-2022 nakucathaniswa neminyaka wanga-2021. Lo mbiko uphindze uvete ukuthi labo labasishiya emhlabeni lababhaliswa babe ngu-5,968 kanti 1,008 wabo lokungu-16% bantfu labadzala labaneminyaka lengu-80 kuya etulo. Umcondzisi wetempilo uthi kuba nale mininingwane kusinyathelo lesihle kuhulumende.
Lesiphumelele kwenda kokucala ukuthi sale sithutfuka ku recorda tindvo tethu sosi kukoleka tibalo tethu tebantfu labadalwa kona labashona kona labagulako sesithuthukile kukhona lokuthiwa bo ICD besiku9 sakhona ke kuzoba saya ku11 ngiyasho ukuthi livela kangwane vele lihamba embili.
Lo sabukete libhaliso kuleli ncamsile maseko ukuthi basebenzisana nato tonke tinhlangothi letitsindzekako kucinisekisa kukolekwa kahle kwemininingwane yesive iphindze igcinwe kahle ngetindlela tebuchwephesha.
By the year 2026, at least 80% of health facilities and the community birth and death, marriages and divorces are registered.
Ubukeli hlangothi lebamvana ehhovisini leliphini landvunankhulu umhambi ndlangamandla uthi batali abababhalise bamvana.
Asiboni letinombolo talabantwana tekuthatha titifiketi tithutfuka.
Lo mbiko uchubeka uvete ukuthi imishado leyabhaliswa ngawo mnyaka wanga-2022 ingu-4,871 kanti 49% yimishado yesilumbi bese kuthi 51% yimishado yesiswati. Ema-divorce anciphile nga-7% ngawo mnyaka wanga-2022 kanti lawo labe khona 91 wawo bomake labaneminyaka lengu-25 kuya ku-29 kanti bobabe bangu-62 kanti basukela eminyakeni lengu-40 kuya ku-44. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Nelson Wendlangamandla nginasimuva Shongwe kaManzini.
Umcondzisi wenhlangano lehambisa lwati ngemdlavuza welibele newesibeletho dengetile kubheka uthi imindeni ayibasekele labo labanamdlavuza ngoba bayakudzinga kusekeleka kude bawuncobe umdlavuza.
Inhlangano lehambisa lwati ngemdlavuza welibele newesibeletho ivakashele lidolobha elincane laseMalkens kuyofundzisa sive saleyandzawo ngawo-ke umdlavuza njengoba sekungiyo inyanga yemphala. Lokumcoka-ke lokukhulunyiswako nalokusicubulo salonyaka yinzima lengadlalwa ngumndeni, imimango nebacashi ekusekeleni labo-ke labanemdlavuza ngekwehlukana kwawo. Umcondzisi wale nhlangano dengetile kubheka uchaza kabanti ngesicubulo nekuthi nzima yini kakhulu ingadlalwa yimindeni nebacashi ekusekeleni labanemdlavuza.
ikakhulukazi ke ebaqashini sikubonile kakhulu njengoba nje namuhla bakhona labanye lababuya emisebentini lebaqashi babasekele kakhulu basaphila nemdlavuza siyakukhuthaza kakhulu lokho.
Siphindze ke sakhulumisa Sandile Madonsela lolilunga lemndeni lalomunye ke lonawo ke umdlavuza. Madonsela ucutela sive ukuthi sibasekele laba nemdlavuza njengoba kubasekela kuyabaphilisa basahamba ke yona ke lena nzima yokuba nalesifo.
Uma ngabe bangakhona ukuthi banakeleleke emakhaya thina lesiphila nabo singaba support lokho kusuke kulide nelide.
Mabhalane lomncane itiko letindlu lokuthuthukiswa kwamadolobha amakhosi Simelane nanaye uthe litiko litivulile tandla futhi ke yayisekela lenhlangano njengoba phela kumcoka ukuthi sive emadolobheni sihlale singileso lesiphilile.
In our African context, we were brought up to believe that we are each other's keeper. Indeed, in an ideal world, everyone is expected to belong to a family that cares and shares the joys and pains of each other.
Wesibelethwa ngonake uhamba impilo eveni laseSwatini ulandzelwe ngomdlavuza welibele. Edizabeni ngengiyani Msibi kunavuma inkosi Nzinisa nathanda kuhle Mdluli eMalkens.
Titsako letakha umtimba wemuntfu pheceleti stem cells kulukhuni kutitfola. Kungako ke kumcoka kutsi bantfu batinikele letitsako. Lokhu kuvetwe nguRobin Lewis welive leNingizimu Afrika locale lihambo lwakhe lweminyaka lelishumi lwekukhutsata kunikelwa kwema-stems lalucale nemkakhe labahlele kuhamba emave langemashumi lasitfupha nakune.
Robin Lewis uthi lokumbange yena newakakhe basukumiswa loluhambo lwemave langemashumi lasitfupha nakune kuthi eminyakeni lesihlanu leyendlulile watfolakala namdlavuza wengati leukemia wase ubanjwa futhi ngilolunye uhlobo lamdlavuza lelingakavami kwabita kuthi anikelelwe ema-stem cells.
The challenge is it's very difficult to find a match for that person. For instance, for Black Africans, it's 1 to 400,000. So if there was 400,000 people signed up to the registry, only one would be a match, and they would have to be signed up to the registry. So it's very difficult to find people matches, and often people pass away as a result of not having a match. Now, I myself had a transplant about 5 years ago, and I only had one single match in the world. It was actually my sister. And without that match, I wouldn't be here today.
Umkakhe Robin Yolandi Lewis uthi etimeni letikanjena kumcoka kwesekelana.
I think it's very important to have a support structure. When you try to accomplish something like this, it's very difficult, and it's the first of its kind. So there's a lot of challenges that we face. So we're always trying to get support from communities, businesses, because we can't do it by ourselves. We need the support of people around us and the countries that we're trying to do this mission.
Lolu hambo lwalaba lababili luqale lapha eveni laseSwatini liyophelela eveni leVietnam bahamba ngetruck yabo labatakhele yona leyindlu lesebenzisa imafutha ekupheka lasasebentile. Etindzabeni yeSwatini TV kubika Samkelsiwe Khoza nasikhumbuzo Dlamini ezulwini.
Kutemdlalo likhethelo lesive lemdlalo wepool li-7 laseNingizimu Afrika lapho khona lingenele indzebe ye-All Africa Black Ball Championships yalonyaka lengeneleke emavela sendansi nelivekati le-Afrika. Kanti ke mabhalane wenhlangano yemidlalo wepool lapha eveni Imbongeni Gametse uthi live lakangwane selivele licale ichudzelwano nalamanye emave. Likhethelo lihambe nebadlali kanye neti-70 talenhlangano lapho khona laba-15 kanti ke lemidlalo itawuphela ngalisonto.
Ikhethelo lemidlalo wepool lakuleli li-7 laseNingizimu Afrika lapho khona lingenele imidlalo ye-All Africa Black Pool Championships licale ngalesibili kuleli viki lisetulungu. Mabhalane lomkhulu wenhlangano yemidlalo wepool lapha eveni Imbongeni Gametse uchazile ukuthi uhambo lwaleli khethelo lusahamba kahle kanti sebavele bacelile ekucudzelana.
Aqale idolo kulesibili nasifika sihamba ama-opening point. Labadlale kahle ku-opening point benginqobile Dlamini lodlala final wadliwa kuwo baba nasibusiso Mhlabathi nasiyabonga Dlamini baphuma kuma-quarter finals i-achievement lehle bebasethini sithatha kufika ejuze nanamuhla lama-games ayaqhubeka atawuqala ntambama udlala ku-teams both ladies and men kwi-round robin ama-team angu-9 asabonke bavela atabe akhona adlala lapho khona kubheke ukuthi i-top 4 aqualify aqhubeka odlala ema-semi-final bese i-final yakhona iyoba ngelisonto emini ema-singles atawudlala Friday and Saturday.
Leli khethelo luhambene abadlali kanye nemalunga la-15 nabaphelele bonke. Le midlalo kubheka ukuthi iphela ngelisomvo kanzi licembo litawuhamba embili litawuhamba ekhaya nemali engu-50,000 amalangeni kanzi labo labatawuhamba embili batimele ama-singles batawuhamba ekhaya na-20,000 amalangeni amunye mumvu. Le midlalo ingenelwe emave langentasi nesifundza selivekati le-Afrika. Lobikela umsakathi Eswatini TV kutemidlalo ngilinda Dlamini kanzi umbiko uhlanganiswa nguFabrice Msonera eMbabane.
So lemizuzu le mine kabanga insimbi yesithupha sithatha isimo selitulo sitabuya sicubene nehlelo.
Asibenzele sinimukele savusela nawe lo sanza kusivulela siqhubeka nalo hlelo sisabhekile ukuthi sikhuluma kabanti nge-Vital Statistics Report 2022 kumanje sidawuthi nje ukulalela mhlabuhlangene UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres ayethula nje statement sakhe ngaloko lokuqhubeka e-Middle East.
I've been closely following dramatic events in Israel and Gaza. I will never forget the images of this supercharged cycle of violence and horror. I'm in continuous contact with leaders in the region with an immediate focus on several key priorities. We must avoid spillover of the conflict. I am concerned about the recent exchange of fire along the Blue Line and recent reported attacks from southern Lebanon. I appeal to all parties and those who have an influence over those parties to avoid any further escalation and spillover. I call for the immediate release of all Israeli hostages held in Gaza. Civilians must be protected at all times. International humanitarian law must be respected and upheld. About 220,000 Palestinians are now sheltered in 92 UNRWA facilities across Gaza. UN premises and all hospitals, schools and clinics must never be targeted. UN staff are working around the clock to support the people of Gaza, and I deeply regret that some of my colleagues have already paid the ultimate price. Crucial life-saving supplies, including fuel, food and water, must be allowed into Gaza. We need rapid and unimpeded humanitarian access now. I want to thank Egypt for its constructive engagement to facilitate humanitarian access through the Rafah crossing and to make the El Arish airport available for critical assistance. There is no time to lose. Every moment counts. Thank you.
Yeah, that was Antonio Guterres speaking on the state of peace, or rather of conflict that is currently happening in the Middle East. We want to look at now a press conference by Ambassador Riyad Mansour, who is the permanent observer of the state of Palestine to the United Nations, on the situation of civilians in Gaza. Palestine Ambassador Riyad H. Mansour today said peace would require that the Israeli side to recognize that we exist and we are humans and we have national rights and aspirations, while the representative of the League of Arab States, Majed Abdullah Fattah Abdulaziz, added that if Israel believes that military action is going to settle in the Palestinian question, they are wrong.
I just want to put you in the picture of the latest of meetings and contacts during the last 2 days. The Secretary General who spoke to you, I believe, just minutes ago, was in contact with President Abbas 2 days ago. And he raised with President Abbas the effort of the Secretary General to have humanitarian corridors and to address the extremely critical and catastrophic situation of the civilians in the Gaza Strip, and to provide them of the needed materials in terms of electricity, fuel, food, medicine, water, and so on and so forth. And President Abbas impressed on him the need of ending this onslaught and aggression against our people in the Gaza Strip. We appreciate the efforts of the SG, and he continued with this effort with a number of countries and agencies. The WHO is active, and it's raising the alarm that there has to be access to the Gaza Strip to provide medical and humanitarian assistance. UNRWA it has in its facilities, I believe now it is 92 facilities, as the SG said. They are housing about 220,000 displaced Palestinians. There might be an additional 100,000 who are looking for places to protect their families. The situation is extremely horrific against our civilian population. The destruction is beyond imagination, as you see, and you cover the situation and the story with your own, cameras. So the whole world is seeing that catastrophe that is befalling on the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. Of course, we appreciate the efforts also of UNRWA, who's trying to send assistance, but they cannot. Egypt and others, Jordan, and the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, all are trying, to send assistance, but they are not succeeding so far. In addition to that, I met with the President of the Security Council about an hour ago in his chamber, and I raised with him, that this catastrophic situation, the efforts of the SG, the efforts of all these agencies who are active in the humanitarian field, including UNRWA, WHO, and the readiness of many countries, including Egypt and Jordan, of stepping up to the plate and helping. We appreciate all these efforts, and we will continue the contacts with everyone, including the Security Council, so that the international community to shoulder its responsibility in stepping to the picture and in putting an end to this onslaught against our people, but more importantly, that would require, of course, sending humanitarian assistance to the 2.3 million of Palestinians who live in the Gaza Strip. There has to be a humanitarian intervention in order to avoid a looming catastrophe and humanitarian massive crisis in the Gaza Strip. We will continue with these efforts with everyone. I understand that the Arab Emergency Ministerial Meeting just concluded a few minutes ago in Cairo. We will study what the outcome and see how we can fit all these things with our activities and our contacts with all concerned parties here at the United Nations. We hope very soon that the international community, led by the SG, led by the Security Council, will rise up to their responsibilities and begin with the process of sending humanitarian help and assistance to the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip. This, of course, would require to have a ceasefire or stopping the bombardment of the Gaza Strip so that the convoys and the caravans would be able, to reach the Gaza Strip and to provide the assistance to the people there. And if we succeed in this collective effort soon, it is needed, it should take place, then that would open the stage for other possibilities to deal with all other pressing issues. We have three pressing issues that we need to address. The first one is to stop this carnage of civilians, and as we see it displayed in the Gaza Strip, meaning that the immediate issue that all of us should come into agreeing to is to stop the fighting, to allow humanitarian assistance to reach the people there so that we can, after that, address the issue of the protection of civilians, especially civilians in the occupied territory. And thirdly, to start thinking about a political horizon. Now, if we keep repeating the same thing of one cycle after another cycle of violence every few years, and expecting that in one hand for some, the elimination of the Palestinian people and the Palestine problem, and that is not happening. We've been in that situation so many times before, and those who thought that, and Prime Minister Netanyahu said it more than one time, the Palestine question is behind us, the Palestinian problem is finished, the Palestinians are behind us, or so that if you keep repeating that, expecting different results than what you're receiving, which is more and more of tragedies and pain and hatred and deepening of the conflict, then you are delusional. You are not living reality. What we need, if people, to learn the lessons from all these tragic, incidents, is to move in the direction of making peace. Peace would require that the Israeli side to recognize that we exist and we are humans and we have national rights and aspirations, and these national rights and aspirations should be fulfilled, and there is global consensus on them. The two-state solutions and people to live in peace and harmony as good neighbors, which would require the end of occupation. And I sincerely hope that that would be the case. And I'm like you, I read, many things that you publish, and I read articles in the New York Times where some people were trying to draw similarity between what happened in October 1973 and this time, this October, that when things to calm down, that maybe there will be a peaceful solution to this conflict that lasted way for too long, for 75 years. So I sincerely hope that we do not keep addressing the cycles of death and destruction in which the civilian population, and here I'm talking in our case about the Palestinians, but of course there is also, suffering by civilians on the other side, that, we need to move away from repeating these cycles which, they create all this devastation and pain, to move in the direction of having a peaceful solution on the basis of the global consensus, which is a remarkable thing. Maybe the question of Palestine may be the only question in which there is global consensus around it. Let's implement the will of the international community on the basis of this global consensus. And I can assure you that there are, that the Palestinian people and their leadership are so strongly committed to that trend, but instead of strengthening that trend, there are those who are marginalizing that trend, and then therefore you will see the different forms of resorting, to the things that lead to all these tragedies. Majid, if you want to say something.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just to complement what Ambassador Riyad have just said, if Israel believes that military action is going to settle the Palestinian question, they're wrong. It could have happened 2006 with the attack on Lebanon, 2008, 2014, many other times that attacks have happened, and it led to no result. Palestinians are adamant, and the Palestinian question and Palestinian issue remains the central issue for the League of Arab States and for all the Arab countries, despite everything that is happening, whether it is the Abraham Accords, whether it is any other developments in the political track. The Palestinian issue is the central issue for the whole Arab League and its member states. And that is the main essence where the resolution that was adopted today of the League of Arab States Council of Ministers is leading from. This resolution, if you allow me to give you just a glimpse, it will come to you as an official document, but it will take a couple of days or 3 days. Just it has three preambular and 12 operative paragraphs. The three preambular is I will just try to summarize it from Arabic copy that is before me. That is reaffirming the centrality of the Palestinian question and the need to fulfill all the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, the inalienable legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. Above all is the self-determination and living in peace in its independent, sovereign state on the borders of the 4th of June 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital. The second one is upholding the commitment to comprehensive, just peace in the Middle East on the basis of the two-state solution as a strategic objective of Arab countries to protect the country and all its peoples and its states and its future from violence, wars, and its destructive impacts. The third one is the reaffirmation on all other resolutions. The main operative paragraphs, first, emphasizing the importance to cease fire in the Israeli war on Gaza and on the escalation in the West Bank and the surrounding, inviting all parties to self-restraint, warning from the catastrophic humanitarian, security impact of this kind of escalation and expansion, working with the international community on launching an effective and immediate move to an implementation of international law in protection of the security of the region and its stability, of the escalation of cycles of violence, which everybody is going to suffer from, condemnation of killing civilians on both sides or targeting civilians on both sides, and condemnation of all actions that are against international law, international humanitarian law, and international human rights law, and reaffirmation on the need for protection of civilians in harmony with the common humanitarian values and international law, and on the reaffirmation on the need to release all civilians and all hostages and
Prisoners, Palestinian prisoners.
all prisoners. And then condemnation of for all what the Palestinian brotherly people is suffering from aggression, from violations for its rights, and reaffirmation of the need to lift the embargo that is imposed on Gaza Strip and allow immediately and without delay for entry of humanitarian assistance, food, fuel, and other necessary means of life, including through the United Nations, particularly the UNRWA, and cancellation of all Israeli decisions to stop supplying Gaza with electricity and water, and reaffirmation on the need of the Arab states and the international community to provide financial support for the UNRWA to make it able to meet its commitment at this particular time. There are some other provisions on the internal side from the Arab work, but the reaffirmation on the need for Israel to commit to implement its commitment as occupying power and to stop all Israeli unilateral illegal actions that are codifying the occupation and endangering the two-state solution and the possibilities to reach just and peace, including building of settlements and the expansion of settlements, confiscation of lands, deportation of Palestinians of their homes, military operations against cities and camps, Palestinian camps, and attacks on the holy sites, Islamic and Christian. The peace and security in the region is the basis for our work, and the rest is going to be the same, and it's coming in the same effort. So this is what is the basic results that came out of the meeting of the Council of Ministers of the League of Arab States.
Yeah, alright, sibekuyekelo yokuqala kwakhuluma UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres naye aveta nje statement sakhe ngaloko lokuchubekako eveni lase Israel kanti ke daily violence in the Middle East grows out of a long-standing conflict with a 56-year-long occupation and no political end in sight. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres told reporters in New York. He said it's time to end this vicious circle of bloodshed, hatred, and polarization. He urged and warned against irreversible action that would embolden extremists and doom any prospects for lasting peace.
Yeah, kanzike lokunye lesikuthola konje kuye Guterres ukuthi only a peaceful resolution of the conflict will put an end to this very regular or rather regular flare up of conflict in the region. Uthi Guterres akube nekuthula njengoba sesitfolile ukuthi kube nebantfu benhlangano yakamhlaba lasebashile emhlabeni kule conflict lena. Kanzike yena Tamara Al-Ferai lo United Nations United Nations Relief and Works Agency loba assista kulapha ePalestine, assista ema-refugees, uthi violence is not a viable path forward. United Nations General Assembly nayo through their president Dennis Francis uthi this offers neither sustainable peace for prosperity for anyone involved in the conflict. Then I think the general sentiment as United Nations is supposed to intervene azamele ukuthi alethe ipeace ngiko lesolo United Nations ikunanatela lokhu selokunje le war icalile. We don't know what's going to happen. We are hoping ukuthi kube ne ceasefire njengoba ashito ke Brizard laphana ukuthi kube ne ceasefire. Hopefully the war will end sooner than we expect. People are dying.
Yeah, people are dying. So speaking of Matthias Tonje, in my reports I've read over 1,000 people, 1,200 people, most of them civilians, sebashonile khona even as Israel, and ile war lena senginelangeni lesihlanu itolo solo iyachuba sithemba ukuthi lokho lakushita Antonio Guterres who's the UN Secretary General bataku landzela. Sisabhekeleke ukuthi sikhulumisane nalabasoka khona etiko letasekhaya sikhuluma nge-vital statistics report eminyaka wa 2022. Sitabahlothe market sana sibuya sibuka i-traffic update.
Lesi sikhathi lapho khona emaphoyisa agubha kuba khona kwawo even. Kulapho kukhuthathwa khona sive ukuthi sike sihlale phansi sibuke bomcoka bemaphoyisa empilweni yabantu. Siphindze sibuke indlela letinsha tekuphepha kubo bonke bucala lobuveta sihloko. Sive sakangwane siyakhunjutwa ukuthi singawafaki emaphoyisa etinkulumeni tepolitiki ngoba liphoyisa alingeni futhi alingenelani nepolitiki. Emaphoyisa alwa nebucala netingoti temgwaco kuphela nje. Ingako emaphoyisa athi wonke umuntu eveni akahlale ngaphandle kwekunceneka ukuthi angahle ahlaselwe tilwane tasendle. Umuntu lohlala Eswatini akatiphilele atisebentele ngaphandle kwekwesaba kuhlaselwa kwemucwa nekucekelwa phansi kwempahla yakhe. Nawe wena lophathekile emaphoyisa athi digulele kahle uze uphile ngaphandle kwekuphatamiseka. Lokungenteka ngekuthi tidlova tingene tihlasele labo labakunakekelako kuleyo ndlu. Sivele sihlakaniphile nguleso lesiphakamisa kusebenta kwemaphoyisa nabo bonke labalwa nebucala. Ngale kwaloko timbungushe tiyawuwangenela emazinyane kungenamuntu ekhaya. Lo mlayeto niulethelwa ngemaphoyisa embube abambisene nomsakato wetithombe.
Asifundze silemukele sitawubuka simo semgwaco na Constable Ntombenhle. Asekuvusele Mdolo kuhambeka kanjani lo mhlekuseni?
Ngikuvusele Magagula, ngivusele naye umbukeli wekusile breakfast show. Imigwaco elivela kangwane nanamuhla ekseni sihlolile singumbutho wembube nesive. Imigwaco leminengi iyahambeka kungaba nje ukuthi nikadvolotsina sive kwekuthi siseta uphuma emakhaya nyalo ekseni sibheke ngakhona emsebentini kude lokungakanani lokungabavimba kwekuthi bafike lapho baphokophele kufika khona. Noma ke umgwaco ukahle kepha ke siba khona leto letincane tisikabedo lapha nalapha lokufaka ekhathi igodi letikhona emigwacweni. Sithi nje bashayeli basashayela abente isiqiniseko kwekuthi la kunetigodi khona bayalinciphisa litubane kuze kwekuthi bagweme kwekuthi nase bafike kuleyo ndzawo ukhambe kwekuthi sebazama kufika leto tigodi bagcine sebashayisana naletinye timoto noma ke bashayise abantu labahamba khona emgwacweni. Sithi nje bashayeli basashayela ucophela kwabo akube sezingeni elisetulu kakhulu nyalo ekseni. emadolobha elivele kangwane tiba netemgwaco tiyasebenza tonke ngalokufanele kanti nemigwaco le ngenela kuwo lamadolobha iyahambeka kude lokungakanani lesingakubikela yena umlaleli ngaphandle nje kwalokuthi kuletinye tindzawo ukhanza ukuthi imigwaco iyalungiswa leminye ivaliwe leminye ke kudinga ukuthi wengce eceleni nje naloko asichubeke sibahloniphe labo labasebenza khona emigwacweni kuze ukuthi bakhone nabo kuphephana so sive senkosi siphephe umgwaco noma ke sitaladi lesisuka khona edolobheni lesingisozisa road lesiya khona kumanzana lapha ngase central solo lesitaladi leso sivaliwe kuvule nje umgwaco wesikhashana imotolo ke lapho vele solo tibhekekile kwekuthi timelane atikhoni kuphambana lokwenta kwekuthi lojakile angathi khanza sekabambeleleka khona lapho nje namuhla ekseni asimkhuthathe umlaleli kwekuthi asebenzise letinye tindlela sekungena khona ekhathi edolobheni embabane nangabe aphuthuma asigwemele sisa kumanzana ngoba angathi khanza abambelelekile umgwaco lomkhulu osuka khona eheke ngasengwenya uye khona kamanzini lokufaka ekhathi naye emalagwane kude kwanyalo lokuthi nyabeto lesingakubikela yena umlaleli kanti ke lidolobha lakamanzini nalo lakumathapha nakhona lapho sihlolile ukuthi nje ke nyalo ekseni vele bantu labahamba ngetinyawo baningi kakhulu lesikhuthatha naye umshayeli asasebenzisa yona imotolo yakhe kwekuthi ahlale abaqophele njalo njalo ngoba ukhanza kwekuthi sebangena emgwacweni bangaqapheleki sithi nje asinakeni sitawuphepha sonke nakhona lapho ishiselo ihloliwe umgwaco losuka khona enhlangano ubheke khona kumahamba kusuka lapha emaseyisini uyawufika khona kumahamba lesikunakako kulamalanga bantu labanengi khona lapho basebenzisa yona imigwaco babheka khona emisebenzini lokwenta kwekuthi lizinga labo lekuthola tingoti kulowo mgwaco loyo libe setulu kakhulu sithi nje bashayeli basashayela khona lapho litubane abalinciphise ikakhulukazi nasebatawufika ngakhona esiteshini kwathi sephela kwekuthi lapho ukhanza kwekuthi kunemabhasi lemile ukhanze kwekuthi labanye sebayehla labanye bajakele kuyogibela ubone umuntu sekashayiseka nje kabudlapha ngaleyo ndlela sithi nje bashayeli lamhla ekseni abanakisise kakhulu basayisebenzisa imigwaco ngale kwaloko Thombeni naye umbukeli imigwaco elivela kangwane yahambeka ngaphandle nje kwalesesishido sikabe ngaba kutisela yena umbukeli usuku loluhle naloluphephile basetawusebenzisa yona imigwaco elivela kangwane
Sibonga Constable kusiniketa le traffic updates lomhla ekseni sitawuthatha likhefu sibe nedindzaba singisi
We at Eswatini Television Authority are committed to observing the Eswatini Communication Commission's Broadcasting Code of Conduct.
Under the code, we are committed to broadcast news that is current, free from hate speech, accurate, balanced, and fair.
From politics to business, health, agriculture, courts, and global news, we bring you the latest updates as they happen, when they happen.
We cover all the sporting codes from the football pitch to the chessboards.
This is Eswatini TV News.
English news. The House of Assembly has nominated 35 Eswatini for the 10 available Senate seats. Consider the House nominated 12 females and 23 males.
As per the country's constitution, the House of Assembly nominated Senate hopefuls during the first sitting of the 12th Parliament on Tuesday.
Kunasibongile Nonozi Ndlela, kube na Nkosing Lorraine Ngumalo, kube na Nonhlanhla Khabo Dlamini, kube na Bongiwe Mbingo, kube na Fezeka Nothando Dlamini, kube na Shongwe Dlamini Mcebo, kube na Dimpho T Masuku, Goodness Kusile or Kusile Malambe or Kusile. Lizzy Funegile Nkosi, Linda Ngumalo, kube na Bus Alexia Dlamini, kube na Lindiwe Patricia Ngwenya, Wandile Sizwe Themba, kube na Sibusiso Mzebele, kube na Ndumiso Mdluli, kube na Malinga Mbongiseni, kube na Zombotse Robert Makakula, kube na Sicelo Cedusizi Dlamini, kube na Tony Ngosikhona Sicalisa Sibanze, kube na Bhutana Samuel Dlamini, kube na Thando Lwenkosi T Dlamini, kube na Shedrack S Maphosa, kube na Phinda Malangeni Dlamini, kube na Christopher Muzi Mathebula, Celmusa Ernest Mvoti, Simanga Thwala, kube na Mzolwandle M Gamete, kube na Ntando Yenkosi P Mlangeni, Muzwandile LC Hlajwayo, Richard Sabelo Shongwe, Sphelele Majaha Mkhonda, Patrick P Mavimbela, Majopa Makakula, Adam Mthethwa, Thokozani Mamba.
The Senate nominees are to be vetted, then voted for on Thursday during a sitting of the House of Assembly. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Kusile with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
Members of Parliament have called for cooperation and unity in the House of Assembly. MPs said this during the first sitting of the 12th Parliament, where the Speaker of the House presented the Deputy Speaker before the House.
On Tuesday, the House of Assembly resumed for parliamentary work, where the Speaker of the House, Jabulani Mabuza, presented before the Honourable House the Deputy Speaker, Madala Mhlanga.
Nani malunga siyanicela ukuthi noma ngakulukhunukwana sidebate debates vele by their nature aba robust, sometimes ema-tempers akhuphuke, but ningakhohlwa nalokuthi phela nabo labacondzisi batalwa bafati nebahlonishwa nabo mabatawuvama kube into abangani ama-standing orders. Mawutawutadisha lama-standing orders impilo yakho itaba mnanzi eParliament.
Members of the Honourable House then welcomed the Speaker and his deputy with words of encouragement.
Mr. Speaker, lo Honourable simgabe sonke landlini. Lonke live namhla Mr. Speaker. Nalikhuluma nami noma nalikhuluma nemuntu lola ngekhathi endlini. Lithi Honourable.
Uma siParliament sibambisene sebenta sinemoya munye sineliphupho linye silandzela umthetho live litaba nekuthula kuthula ke nokutaba seParliament kutaba nemthelela lemihle nasevele.
The Attorney General, the learned Attorney General, ngiyena lesinikwa iConstitution yekwakuthi us guide whereby sekune tinkinga when it comes to legislation. Let us not allow ukuthi sidase siyainterpretela umthetho.
Siyacela ukuthi Mr. Speaker vele akwendeke lokuthi bese ba divided indlu Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker indlu wase divided kwenta ukuthi ngasasebenzeki kulandlini.
The Speaker of the House then adjourned the House after the nomination of Senate hopefuls. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Kusile with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Parliament.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office has reiterated government's commitment to ensuring the welfare of a girl child through translating policy into action. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masuku, said this whilst officially launching the Girl Child Month and the Day of the Girl Child at his offices in Babane.
In commemorating this year's International Day of the Girl Child, whose theme is invest in girls' rights, our leadership, our well-being. The International Day of the Girl Child, celebrated annually on October 11th, was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in December 2011. The day serves as a global platform to advocate for the rights of the girl child and to raise awareness of the unique challenges faced by the girl child. It is a day to reflect on the progress made in advancing gender equality and to renew our commitment to creating a world where every girl can thrive and reach their full potential.
United Nations Populations Fund Head of Office Margaret Twala says her office is here to support government realize its targets against gender-based violence.
The country is part of what is referred to as early and unplanned pregnancies campaign. And that on its own is part of ensuring that any adolescent girl who becomes pregnant and drops out of school is reintegrated back to the education system.
Chairperson of the Gender Consortium, Sonic Dlamini, says stakeholders still have a lot of work to do to end gender-based violence, especially among girls.
Gender is not just a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for peaceful and sustainable society, as we want in Eswatini.
In an effort to stop gender-based violence, government has enacted the Prevention of Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018. Government has further launched 3 policies meant to ensure the welfare of all Emaswati, including girls and women. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Smuva Shongwe, Mbabane.
Last year, 28,541 children were born, showing an increase of 5,808 when compared to the previous year. This is contained in the Vital Statistics Report, which was launched at the George Hotel by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Ministry of Home Affairs on Wednesday.
The report states that the recorded deaths account for 5,968, of which 1,008 were people of the ages 18 and above. The Director of Health Services, Dr. Velepi Okelo, says these statistics show government's commitment to safekeeping of records, which are necessary to plan socio-economic activities.
With births, we have seen a significant improvement in terms of recording of babies immediately before they are discharged from the facility. Usually, when someone delivers, they will be in the hospital for between 24 to 48 in general, mainly hours, if they delivered well, normally. So we want to ensure that these babies are registered right there so that they are able to be planned for by the country going forward.
The acting National Civil Registrar Kusile Masego says the ministry is working with relevant stakeholders to increase the reach of all registrations.
By the year 2026, at least 80% of health facilities and the community birth and death, marriages and divorces are registered.
Asiboni leti nombolo talabantwana tekuthatha certificate tithuthuka.
The report further summarizes that a total of 4,871 marriages were registered last year, of which 49% were civil rights marriages and 51% were Swati law and custom. Divorces decreased by 1.8% and 7% respectively when compared to the year 2021. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Sibumva Shongwe, Manzini.
The director of the Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network, Dengetile Kubega, says families can play a role in supporting cancer survivors, as family support is important for their healing. She was speaking at Malkens as part of their awareness on cancer.
The Eswatini Breast and Cervical Cancer Network visited the small town of Malkens to raise awareness and educate members of the public on cancer. Following that, the month of October is Cancer Awareness Month. This year's theme speaks to the importance and the role that can be played by families, communities and employers in supporting cancer survivors. The BCCN Director Dengetile Kubega unpacks this year's theme.
Ikakhulukazi-ke ebaqashini sikubonile kakhulu njengoba nje namuhla bakhona labanye lababuya emisebenzini lebaqashi babasekele kakhulu basaphila nemdlavuza siyakukhuthaza kakhulu lokho.
We also spoke to Sandile Madonsela, a family member or a relative of someone who is a cancer survivor. Madonsela says it is very much important to support cancer survivors because it also uplifts their spirits and gives them hope as they walk through the journey of being cancer survivors.
uma ngabe bangakhona ukuthi banakeleleke emakhaya thina lesiphila nabo singaba support lokho kusuke kulide nelide.
The Undersecretary in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Makosi Smelane, applauds the EPCCN for reaching out to communities as well as town councils while raising awareness on cancer.
In our African context, we were brought up to believe that we are each other's keeper. Indeed, in an ideal world, everyone is expected to belong to a family that cares and shares the joys and pains of each other.
Cervical cancer is the leading type of cancer in Eswatini, followed by breast cancer. For Eswatini TV News, I am Kiani Msibi with Vuminkosi Nzinisa and Tandogutle Mdluli, Madkens.
Stem cells transplants are often the last chance of cure for patients with leukemia and other cancers. Stem cell transplant survivor Robin Lewis said this during his first stop in Eswatini of their quest with his wife Jolandi of raising awareness about stem cell donation.
Robin Lewis underwent a stem cell transplant 5 years ago to treat a genetic disorder that causes health problems like tumors and leukemia. The over 100,000-kilometer journey across 64 countries through Africa and Europe and Asia in 10 years hopes to sign up thousands of donors.
The challenge is it's very difficult to find a match for that person. For instance, for Black Africans, it's 1 to 400,000. So if there was 400,000 people signed up to the registry, only one would be a match, and they would have to be signed up to the registry. So it's very difficult to find people matches, and often people pass away as a result of not having a match. Now, I myself had a transplant about 5 years ago, and I only had one single match in the world. It was actually my sister. And without that match, I wouldn't be here today.
Robin's wife, Yolandi Lewis, says a strong support structure is very key in such situations.
I think it's very important to have a support structure. When you try to accomplish something like this, it's very difficult, and it's the first of its kind. So there's a lot of challenges that we face. So we're always trying to get support from communities, businesses, because we can't do it by ourselves. We need the support of people around us and the countries that we're trying to do this mission.
Robin and his wife Yolandi have been working diligently for 4 years, developing a fire truck that runs on recycled oil, and the Kingdom of Eswatini was their first stop. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Swekoza with Zikumbuzo Tlamini, Esulwini.
And on international news, Israel has formed an emergency wartime unity government to fight Hamas militants, at the same time amassing 300,000 troops near Gaza for what could be a ground invasion of the Palestinian enclave.
Hezbollah said an attack on Israel's northern border late Tuesday and early Wednesday was in response to the deaths of 3 of its members in Israeli strikes Monday, raising fears for Israeli forces of having to fight on 2 fronts. Meanwhile, the death toll in both Israel and the Gaza Strip increased as fighting continued there. Terrorism specialist Miri Eisen says Hamas gunmen could still be hiding inside Israel.
The systematic finding now of the terror nests that they built in and around, that's something that can go on for days. This is dangerous times. We're talking about a pre-planned full-scale massacre attack.
In Eisen's view, Israel must continue its attacks on Hamas until the group's military capability is destroyed. But she notes a ground invasion of Gaza would be complicated.
We need to get to the Hamas terror infrastructure, meaning they came in with thousands. They still have tens of thousands inside the Gaza Strip. You can only through a ground incursion really systematically get to these terror nests. Where are the terror nests? In the heart of the Gaza Strip, inside the neighborhoods, the refugee camps, the different buildings themselves.
By early Wednesday, Israel said it had carried out airstrikes on more than 2,600 targets in Gaza, fueling accusations of Israeli atrocities against Palestinian civilians.
Gaza right now is suffering from genocide,
Israeli air forces are striking residential neighborhoods, killing up until this moment 1,000 Palestinian civilians. Almost half of them are children. At the same time, Israel is working on the international arena to convey a different story.
Many in Gaza warn of a growing humanitarian crisis. Israel has cut off electricity and water to the enclave, and the power plant there is due to stop supplying electricity on Wednesday. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have fled their homes, fearing Israeli attacks, and have been sheltering in schools and other facilities.
United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel in a show of solidarity and support as the country responds to the devastating cross-border attacks by the militant group Hamas. Blinken is meeting with senior Israeli officials to inquire what Israel needs as it seeks to free hostages that are held by Hamas, to regain control of its border with Gaza, as well as to destroy Hamas' operational capacity. Viewer discretion is advised on the following story.
Residents of Kibbutz Masada in northern Israel took refuge in a shelter after a warning siren sounded twice. The Israeli army said it suspected an aerial infiltration from Lebanon into northern Israel, although it later said it had not identified any aerial intrusions from the north. More than 2,300 people in Israel and Gaza have been killed, with thousands of others injured, since Hamas militants launched brutal attacks on Saturday, prompting Israel to declare war and to form an emergency government. U.S. President Joe Biden reaffirmed that he and his national security team are working day and night on the conflict, and said he and Vice President Kamala Harris had spoken again Wednesday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
And this moment, we have to be crystal clear. There is no justification for terrorism, no excuse, and the type of terrorism that was exhibited here was just beyond the pale, beyond the pale. As I said yesterday, my commitment to Israel's security and the safety of the Jewish people is unshakable.
Biden dispatched his top diplomat, Secretary of State Antony Blinken, to Israel as a sign of solidarity. Before departing to the conflict region, Blinken had this to say to any country that might try to take advantage of the situation.
The President has deployed, as you know, the world's largest aircraft carrier group to the region to make very clear our intent to deter anyone contemplating any further aggression against Israel.
Blinken said that the U.S. is also focused on its own citizens, that 22 Americans have died, and that number could go up. The White House said 17 Americans were still missing, and the administration had no information on their condition. At the United Nations in New York, Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he is in constant contact with leaders in the Middle East and is worried about a spillover of the conflict in the region.
I am concerned about the recent exchange of fire along the Blue Line and recent reported attacks from southern Lebanon. I appeal to all parties and those who have an influence over those parties to avoid any further escalation and spillover.
Guterres also called for Hamas to release all Israeli hostages, emphasizing that civilians must always be protected and that international humanitarian law must be upheld. He said that about 220,000 Palestinians are now sheltered in 92 UN facilities across Gaza, and that UN premises and hospitals, schools, and clinics must never be targeted. Later Wednesday at the White House, Biden joined a roundtable with Jewish community leaders to express his condolences and his unwavering support for Israel following the Hamas terror attacks.
In our sports news, Fabrice tells us about our pool team, which is in the Republic of South Africa.
We begin our sports roundup with pool where the national team is already in the Republic of South Africa to take part of this year's All Africa Blackboard Championship in Johannesburg with a team of 15 players together with officials. Mbongeni Kametse, who is the Secretary General of Eswatini Q Sports Association, says that the team is settling in well since their arrival on Tuesday and have already started competing.
Baba nasibusiso Mhlabathi nasiyabonga Dlamini baphuma kuma-quarter finals i-achievement lehle ngoba bebasathini ngothatha kufika sithatha kufika eJuzi nanamuhla lama-games ayaqhubeka atawuqala ntambama udlala ku-teams both ladies and men kwi-round robin ama-team angu-9 asabonke bavela tabe akhona adlala lapho khona kubheke ukuthi top 4 aqualify aqhubeka odlala ema-semi-final bese i-final yakhona iyoba ngelisonto emini ema-singles atawudlala Friday and Saturday.
Different regional countries are taking part of the tournament with the team champions to walk away with 50,000 emalangene, while individual winners will walk away with 20,000 emalangene each. The championship will be ending this coming Sunday. And in our international news, former Manchester City and FC Barcelona midfielder Yaya Toure says there is a need for Black and African coaches to be considered for head coach positions. The 40-year-old is now the current assistant coach of Standard de Liège in Belgium, having been with clubs as head coach in Russia and Ukraine. In the recent times, coaches have been handed a chance, including former Crystal Palace head coach Patrick Vieira. Yaya Toure's brother Koro Toure was also handed a chance at Wigan Athletic in England before he was the Leicester City assistant coach. Currently in the English Premiership, Burnley head coach is Vincent Kompany. And in England Premier League and head of referees Howard Webb has declared that proper and suitable discussions around the use of visual assistant referee known as VAR are being conducted following the disallowed goal by Luis Diaz when Liverpool was playing against Tottenham Hotspur in the English Premiership. And lastly, at the ongoing Cricket World Cup in India, Pakistan held a world record when defeating Sri Lanka with 345 points, which gave them a chance to win the game by 6 wickets. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msundra, Babane.
It's 22 minutes after 7. We'll go for an ad break, but before that, we'll take a look at the weather forecast.
Welcome back. Sakuvusela nalo sanza kusivulela besivedile ukuthi sitabe sikhulumisana nalabasuka etiko letasekhaya sihlatiye njengabandi statistics report lethule itolo nekushoke kwembiko wayo le vital statistics report eminyaka wa 2022 ngalokho lethule itolo ngalokho mthethweni iveta ukuthi 28,541 wabantwana were born in the year 2022 kanti ke 5,968 people registered for deaths in 2022. 2022 kuleti nombolo leti nje bantfwana labaneminyaka lengaphansi kwalesihlanu kwabhalisa labalinganiselwa ku 60% within 60 days emva kokuthi babelekwe. Sina Assistant Regional Civil Registrar Phumlani Zwane tosihlatiyela leti nombolo. Lombike-ke uphinze uhlatiye netinombolo tabamfu labashadile laba-divorced kanye nalabo labaseshiyile emhlabeni. Asivusele emangweni saba ngokuthi ube nathi lo mhla ekuseni. Ngifuna sibuke naye yebamfana lababelekwa eminyakeni lophelile 2022 28,000. Ngiyakhumbula ukuthi eminyaka wa 2020 2021 bekusole kuyinkinga lokuthi nababelekwa labantwana ababhaliswa batali abayilandzeleli indzaba ye-birth registration. Ingabe vele mhlambe nasibuka nje le report le yomnyaka wa 2022 kuhambe kanjani lokho nasibuka nje indzaba ye-birth registration?
I-birth registration inyukile ngaloko inyuke kancane inyuke only 15% compared to eminyakeni lophelile wanga 2021. But ke leti nombolo solathi sito letinhle kakhulu ngoba i-completeness nje siku only 35% kanzi standard sithi kufanele sibe ngetulu kwa 80%. Bantwana labadele bombuka nje ukuthi bantwana labadele esibhedlela bango 20,541 kepha labagcina babhalisewe ngesikhathi babe only 12,477. Lokhu only 44% wabantwana laba bese babhaliswa ngesikhathi. Lokho buhlungu kuhulumende nakubo batali ngoba bayabeleka abantwana esibhedlela abantu 28,000 but labangu 44% kuphela lababhalisile. Shothi batali babahambile baya esibhedlela babeleka abantwana but baphuma beta nabo eveni abantwana bangabaniketi buve bangabaniketi emalungelo abo laba bafanele.
Ngiyakhumbula ukuthi at some point I think years ago nje nibambisene nelitiko letempilo ukuzama lokuthi vele make nakathanza kubeleka nje umfana esibhedlela kube khona elifomu laligcwalisa kuna magcwalisa sona nesitifiketi sekudala khona lapho nje esibhedlela. Engabe lokho kuhamba kanjani lohlelo liyanisida invele nani kukhona ukuthi nikolekele data yena?
Kuyasita kakhulu. Mangabe sitawubuka nje sitawunaka kakhulu i-report ya next year ukuthi itabe ishintshile futhi itabe ishintshe kakhulu. Itabe ishintshiswe ukuthi litiko i-ministry bese seya establisha li-office lapho ku register khona ema-births nema-deaths ku facility embabane government hospital siyabhaliswa certificate siphindze siphume khona le esibhedlela nase RFM siyabhaliswa certificate iphindze sisayine siphume khona esibhedlela. Leti nombolo ke tinyukile kakhulu but ke lokuphinze kube buhlungu ukhanze ukuthi leti nombolo mabe nje esibhedlela babelekise 400 civil registration gcina bhalisene noma ncinye bo 35 labo bantwana labo labangu 400 ngaleso sikhathi lesifishane. Lo kuyinkinga kakhulu kufuneka ukuthi silitiko lizame kubanjiswa kakhulu sibone tinini tengonyama ukuthi tiyalibambisa litiko ngenzaba yekuvula ema-office edibhedlela onke lamanye letinye tibhedlela bohlatikhulu Nhlangano Pigs Peak Sithobelweni nasemathanjeni nakhona seyikhona equipment ukuthi kuhambe kuyovulwa ema-office khona tabha certificate esibhedlela.
I think nasibuka nje mhlambe ama interventions alo litiko sakhumbula ukuthi solo kuchubeka yona le mopping exercise ingabe nayo esitile ukuthi mhlambe ikhuphule tinombolo tebamfu lababhalisako lababhalisela dona certificate tekudala naleto tekufa.
Isitile kakhulu i-mopping ngoba phela i-mopping lesinye sizathu sayo ukuthi yendiwe kwekuthi ito cleaner la ngephandle bonke labo make bebantwana la certificate ngoba phela ngeke ukukhona ukubhalisa umntwana wakho certificate sekudalwa mangabe wona ukabhalisi. Le closing of the tap lokuthi sikhona ukubhalisa certificate esibhedlela sekutawusitakala lapho ke ngokuthi labantu lababhalisiwe lekumoping labo make sebata kuye esibhedlela banaso sichaza buve sakatho khona kubhalisa imoping isite kakhulu mawubuka nje uyibe khona only 2 regions isakulomunye futhi kaManzini nakaHoho seyocedzela and isite kakhulu.
Okay, I think lokune nje le vetako le report but ngifuna sipenze sibuke nje nema total marriages la record yomnyaka lophelile nama divorces kanye nama nullifications. I think lokuvela konje kule report ukuthi kwashada abamfula abangu 4871 phinzi vetene ukuthi bashada kakhulu ngekusebenzisa isintu noma lisiko lamaswati. I think nasibonga nje mhlambe kusukela ngibekisa mlekeni na 2020 ingabe le 30 nombolo le 30 bamfula abashadako nalaba divorceako betime kanjani ukuze nje kufika umnyaka wa 2022.
Okay. Kuyasijabulisa civil registration kubona ukuthi iSwazi Law and Customs marriage iyabhaliswa seyibhaliswa kakhulu kwenza civil rights. Lo sekukhombisako ke manje ukuthi ngoba idolo besicabanga ukuthi abantu labaningi bathathana nge-civil rights kanti bekungasilo liqiniso. Iqiniso bekuthi abantu abaningi bathathana ngayo iSwati Law and Customs but ukuthi abaregister. Kanti i-civil rights kufanele ukuthi ibhaliswe within 7 days. iSwazi Law and Customs iyakhona yona ukubhaliseka even after lo 14 days sekengcile. Leti nombolo ke dinyo kakhulu mawubuthi iSwati Law and Customs seyingetulu nyalo enough 2471 abantu labathathana ngeSwazi Law. Base baba 2400 abathathana nge-civil rights.
So ngifuna siphinde sichubeke nje sibuke mhlambe lama le tinombolo nje bamfula abadivorceako le report ivita ukuthi ku divorce kakhulu ama females labane iminyaka lesuka ku 25 ye ku 29 kumbe nangosihlathela nje le 30 nombolo leto ukuthi vele lelizinga libanganani nje le bamfula abafikako ka Home Affairs kuto faka sicelo sekuhlukana.
Lokuye kube inkinga kube ukuthi inkantolo mase ikhiphile isijubo ngoba abantu sicelo sekuhlukana kwababa sithola ka Home Affairs basithola enkantolo. Isike inkantolo mase ikhiphile isijubo labanye bese bayahlala bangayilethi le order lekhishwe enkantolo ka Home Affairs. Kepha ke vele inombolo debantu labasuka ku 29 ku 25 kuya ku 25 years nge-civil rights. Ku 29 kuya ku 25 nge-civil labathathana nge-civil rights bangibo abantu labahlukana kakhulu. Kanzi kuSwazi Law and Customs kuSwati Law and Customs labana 35 to 39 ngoba ben 56 labahlukana kakhulu ngeSwati Law and Customs. Kepha ke kuyamangalisa amata uphinza ubona iyasho le report ukuthi kunebantu labang 3 labana 70 to 74 labahlukene ngeSwazi Law and Customs.
So nananibuka nje leti nombolo tiyanyuka noma tiyehla nombolo tebamfula laba divorceako nje kule minyaka mhlambe lemibili lesiyengcile.
Le report ikhombisa ukuthi inombolo tebamfula labahlukana ko tiyenyuka njalo ngeminyaka. Ikhombisa ke futhi ukuthi bami labahlukanako se i-age yabantu labahlukanako iyehla ibuyele emuva ngoba nalona 18 weminyaka u-applyele i-divorce bahlukana mawubuka kusho labantu bashade idolo sebenze bahlukana khona namuhla. Iveta ke ukuthi kunema interventions lefuna endiwe.
Yeah, so ngifuna siphinde sibuke nje mhlambe nekufa nako nokushona because nabo nako kuya register khona itikuleta sekhaya lokuthi ngabe vele mhlambe nasibuka nje eminyakeni lophelile sishiwe bamfu labangaki and what were the causes of their deaths.
Kulo mnyaka lophelile abantu labasishile babe ngu5655. Kepha ke labang kulaba 5655 labang 2767 bashonele ngaphandle kwefacility ngaphandle kwesibhedlela shothi bona abakakho kude i-cause of death yabo ngoba phela siyathi ukuthi mawushonele la kangwane lo bika ukuthi ushonile kuba ngomphakathi mangabe ushonele ekhaya kuba bede ke sizathu ukuthi ngabe lo muntu ubulewe yini. Le kufanele ukuthi kwenziwe ama interventions ngoba phela labashonele esibhedlela at least siyakhona kubona ukuthi babulawe yini. Siyakhona kubona ukuthi bantu labaningi babulawe tifo lethambisana nenhlitiyo nengadi labo cardiovascular diseases ngito lethambe phambili kakhulu kwabese kulandzela ama injuries. Kulama injuries kufanele basukume ke bo tinhlangano letfana nabo sukusimisa indvodza kubuka ukuthi kuma injuries nje kube ngiyo lelandzele vascular diseases and kulama injuries kube ma males lalidile kulama injuries so yabona ukuthi ngilabo ma indlela incebo babe labaphatha ngayo lawo lo unzabade kulwa kulimatana tinzabade maboma car accidents iyakuveta le report.
COVID-19 nayo iyavela kule report ukuthi nebamfu nabo labashiya emhlabeni nge-COVID-19 ingabe nje nasibodwa inombolo babe bangaki?
I-COVID-19 i-associate netifo ngoba le tifo bese tiya group. Ila kulama respiratory diseases ehle kakhulu netinombolo nje tebantu labasishile tehlile ngoba mawubuka ukuthi nga 2021 bami labashonile babe nge-7,578 but 2022 babe nge-5,655 tehlile letinombolo te and futhi i-respiratory diseases nga 2021 beyingiyo lebeyilida shothi ngibo bona labo COVID.
Yeah, okay. No, mane ngakhulu lama details mhlambe le data noma information lekhona la kule report ingabe nje civil sifise kuyifunza kahle emangweni singayithola kanjani?
Sivele sifisile kuyithola nema stakeholders onke iku public ngathwa noma bekubongubani analyze ngendlela lafuna ngayo iyatholakala ku communications officer waka Home Affairs.
All right. Sibonga kakhulu ngoba nathi mbukele ukuthi vele ukuthi ungakhona na ukuthi ufundzela yonke le mininingwane lena kubuka nje ukuthi ngabe vele mhlawumbe sesambe kanganani silive etindzabeni tekubhaliswa leto tifiketi letibalekile sabahlala emakethe space chubeke nehlelo.
This weekend, Eswatini, your official weekend party starter. Tune in for the best of entertainment. We're bringing you the hottest music videos and live studio interviews with your favorite celebrities. We're giving you a front row seat to the latest fashion trends as well as your weekend gig guide. Join us live on social media and call in to send your shout-outs. Be sure to catch our movie segment where we review and give updates on all latest movies. Catch This Weekend Eswatini every Friday at 5:30 p.m. live on Eswatini TV.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show. You know the vibes, it's the beat down. The time is 8 p.m. It's time for you to relax, sit back, relax, and enjoy the music videos that I got for you.
Moving no direction, like it's a calling. Been alive in the middle of nowhere. Shake the ground and burn the air. So yeah, you don't have to hold back for anything or anyone. Just own this.
Kwelamuhle asiphinze sikwamukele ehlelweni 37 minutes after 7 shiloke naqala ihlelo ukuthi sitawukhulumisana nebe Taiwan Technical Mission melana neluhlelo lwabo lwe-fruit tree production and marketing. We are joined by Chi Cheng Lee, who is the project manager of the fruit tree production and marketing project. I-project kelena labathi ya designwa kuthola i-high value for tihlahla tetitselo ku replace i-sugar cane cultivation kanye ke nekunyusa lizinga kubantu labatawuqashwa particularly balimi from the field. I-project kelena livela kangwane leseli enjoy iminyaka lesikhombisa ngokubambisana nelive lase Taiwan through our bilateral relations. Let's talk to Mr. Lee about the project. A very good morning, Mr. Lee. Very sorry for waking you up early in the morning. I know you're used to waking up at 8 in the morning, but it's an important project. Waking up this early makes sense. You are the project manager,
yes.
And you could briefly just introduce the project for us.
Yes, okay. Good morning. Thank you for having me to this morning. My name is Chi Cheng Lee. I'm the manager of the project, about the project. Mm-hmm. And I'm in Eswatini about 1 year. And I am very glad to have this opportunity to introduce our fruit tree. We call the fruit tree project here. I think the fruit tree project is about the two countries cooperation with Taiwan and Eswatini since 2016. Yeah, and beginnings, the project will bring the will to find some high value crop of the fruit tree, and to replace the sugar cane, the cultivation, and increase for farmer income.
Okay.
Yeah, and now our project is fruit tree industry from seedling propagation to the marketing chain. Yeah.
We understand that this is a project that Eswatini and Taiwan have been pushing since the year 2016,
Yes.
meaning that it's 7 years this year.
Yes.
If you could just tell us what the targets were or still are for the project and some of the important achievements that you've been able to achieve over the period of 7 years.
Yeah, yes. Our project will try to involve the fruit tree, the seedling supply, and the marketing chain, linking up to import the marketing chain and let some of the protection fruits can introduce and the cultivation in the kingdom. The project is based in the Markens station and the Matsapa station.
Okay.
And we will do some of the targets. That means we will have building the mother tree tunnels. That means a greenhouse. Also, we will to increase the capacity seedling production in the markets.
Yeah, yeah. What we are seeing on the screen, we see some bananas, of course. We can see, but it's a big field. Talk to me about this field. Where is this one situated, and what's the target here?
Yeah, through our techniques, we use the tissue culture to produce the banana seedling, and after we will supply the seedling to the farmer company. That's
Purpose
in the big,
two?
Yeah, purpose two. That's in the big band areas. Then last year we give the seedling to plant, and this year they start harvest. There's a good. First of all, we produce the banana seedling in Eswatini, and first of all harvest in here and.
What is this man doing cutting when he cuts the...
That's the technique we call the graftings.
Okay.
We use the local guavas used for root stick and cut some of the seeds from the guava trees to grafting together.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense. You were still explaining, some of the projects and where they are based. You said one is based in Markens National Research Station, as well as the Matsapa Station.
Yes.
Talk to me about those projects.
Yes. Now we through this about 7 years, near 8 years. Now you can in the supermarket you can see our production. Just like the guava, pitaya, and the strawberries. Yeah, in the Eswatini main season, you can see the guava and the dragon fruits, or we call pitaya, in the supermarkets. And in the off season, it's called winter. For the winter time, you also can see about the strawberry for the supermarkets.
Certainly, I understand there's supposed to be phase 2 of the project.
Yes.
Could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, the phase 2 will. Just before I say, I will link it from the seedling supply to the marketing chain.
Okay.
Yeah, we help the farmer. We not only teach the farmer how to plant, we will do some marketing linkage to the supermarket. Then can increase their income to change their wholesales.
That's very interesting. I think it's good that they don't just learn how to farm, but teaching them and capacitating them on how they can further enter the market and commercialize what it is that they are farming would really help them to make some income.
Yes.
And really feed their families. Thank you so much, Mr. Lee, project manager for the fruit tree production and marketing. We understand you're not here alone. You are with a representative from the Ministry of Agriculture, Benjamin Mamba, who's going to join me right now after the break.
What do you think the best part of traveling is? Is it the food, or is it the conversation, or is it the sights and sound? If you're ready to explore, we are ready to show you the best way how.
will give you access to the best luxury getaway sites in the Kingdom of Eswatini, and of course show you vacation sites that suit your budget, because you do not need a lot of money to actually have a great time. Join us on the next adventure on Buhle Bethu, only on Eswatini TV.
Eswatini Lifestyle is all about inspiration, drive, and swag. Eswatini Lifestyle is informative and fun while covering all aspects of life, be it people, places, and trends in the Kingdom of Eswatini. We got you covered. The focus is on the quality of life. Eswatini Lifestyle will spark your interest. Catch Eswatini Lifestyle every Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Eswatini TV, Sibugo Semaswati.
15 minutes before 7, asiphinza sikwamukele ehlelweni ngwayelo muhle. Benjamin Mamba, representative of the Ministry of Agriculture, joined the fruit tree production and marketing project by the Taiwan Technical Mission just to coordinate some of the country's interests and to help further liaise with some of the targets that the Ministry of Agriculture wants to meet. He joins me now on the program. Mr. Mamba, I understand you joined the project Seigu Phase 2, which was in 2019. Yeah. Obviously, there are targets, El Tigo, Leteglima, Lesnao. I think this is a perfect time to talk about it, to highlight some of the projects, Lenwendile, achievements, targets, Sisibonili Parliament, Setavula Gabusha Parliament, Dawana Labanyama targets, and Yakabagusi, and Jongoba Avetile Mistele Gutsi, is a Taukubega fruit tree production and marketing. It still has other aspirations. Ngabe la lesson buya khona since 2019 to today nimitema phema targets.
Singasho nje ukuthi kuyabonakala ngelisetholo le project ukuthi ema targets kufaka ekhathi ku increase ukukhuliswa kwetithombo even especially in the area of banana. Ngiloko sambele kahle kakhulu nasibuka le collaboration ngoba we are not alone as two parties. Kuna lamanye stakeholders like Eswatini or currently called Ewait. It's one big partner losesidile ekutheni sikhona kwenda a great impact especially on banana because le ndlela sebenza ngayo Eswatini, he organizes the farmers, then ours as a project we supply the seedlings to those farmer schemes. They're very big. I think we are currently pushing a target of to meet a seedling requirement of over 500 hectares. Wow. And I understand now we are standing at 221 hectares, which has already been planted under the Eswatini scheme.
And to put that into perspective for Mbugele Makai, now Kulmanga 500 hectares, a soccer pitch is less than 2 hectares, football pitch, less than 2 hectares. Now it's 500 hectares. I think it gives us a clear perspective of how massive the project lena kutsingakanani nkulu kakhulu siyabona ukuthi kutawusitaka le Maswati lamanengi kakhulu ngabe tinato intinombolo encenye nje te Maswati la sazuzile kule project, even if it's a ballpark estimate.
Maybe ngabe ngikhuluma kabi nangathi exactly these are the figures, but nangithi indlela sebenza ngayo lapha kuma communities kunale role edlalwa ngeSwatini lapho ahlanganisa khona lama communities bahlanganise le mihlabathi so that's how it turns out to be a big very big space. Ngeke ngabona nje lapha nanikhulumisana na manager wami akhe ukuphuma tithombe tikhumba lomveshe. Those are very big farm estates la lapha kusenjitwa khona. Currently sikhuluma ngabo lo SIP 2 le khona. We have been pushing, or we've been recently there. We push over 30-something hectares. And I'm pleased to say Kulogo, we're using material which has been locally produced using the tissue culture material. Because previously we used to source lama seedlings at a smaller age, like maybe 5 centimeters long from South Africa, and then growing them in the tunnels, like on American's research, then taking them out to the farmers. But now, there is a tissue culture laboratory at Malcolm's Research laying on a focus. We would say, let us massively produce the seedlings locally. We are trying to cut the cost of importation for the seedlings, maybe to make them available for local farming community.
I do see the most part of the drive is to decentralize the project. That is perfect. That is a great initiative. Nifuna kunciphisa la kuthenini si-import kule value chain la kuthenini nje nanakha lama seedlings engabe ni luhlangothi lokuthi banana wethu sesemkhicita ngelizinga lokuthi sesiyakhona kum-exporter sesihambe kangakanani lapho, because I do see kusita kakhulu ukuthi while simisa loku importer siphakamise ngala exported nabo African Continental Free Trade Area sebakhona.
Ngicabanga ukuthi i-contribution has been very much significant yaloko ukuthi at least live seliyakhona ukuthumela some of lama products from the country out of the country kungena at market. Akhona ke ma connotations because phela issues of quality dinto leti bamgcoka kakhulu, so akhona ama wings la sibambisako ekutheni lo banana uclean ngalokwanele yini.
But it looks perfect. I was looking at the packaging. I believe bekuma strawberries. I'm not too sure. Just before sibona ama pop na nabo banana. The packaging looks like something lengayithenga ngisho ngiseningizimu Africa noma ngise Ireland noma ngikuphi. It looks like njengoba lelihlangothi lenu lifika lithinta naka marketing. It looks like nanifika lapho niphinze nibafundzise nalama standards.
Bayafundziswa lokhu kahle le project lena like ngisho ukuthi sisebenza with multi stakeholders. Even Namport is part of the whole masihlangene nje emihlanganweni. We meet as Eswatini, we meet as Namport, the working parties. They join together to discuss. Lapha nje kuna organization we call it LNN, which is Lubombo Nelubovana Luyasondla. It's based in the low field and actually working hand in hand with the schemes under Eswatini. And if I recall very well, Lama schemes, I think I talked of Lucip too, I talked of Glomveshe. There's others, okay, they are not coming well, but we are bonagala because ngasho ukuthi kulele seminar now up to this far, there's only one legacy thole ukuthi ngathi ayikakhona kusibambisa kahle lesibona ukuthi ngusitole egcwele, but there's still some production going on. Ngizama kuveta ukuthi le ndlela lesi consolidated ngayo iyenda lokuthi konke lokho ngema requirements ukuthi simithishe ema requirements in the market sikhone kukwenda bafundiseke kahle labalimi bakhona kwena kahle because nabo baya realize ukuthi angeke ulime uphenze ukuthi uthengisele like nje nawubuka LNN uqhamuka in as a meekly person, if I were to put it that way, but it's within lokuvumelana kwalabalimi labakhenhlanzi ukuzila umsebenzi wethu siwuphushe kahle thina sitawulima bese wena usinekela tindzaba tekuthengisa Namport comes in khona ama deliveries lahamba out of the country through Namport nanayi because yathi lokuzana ya uhulumende Namport level ibuke kona ukuthengiswa neku-assist ama-farmers ekutheni imikhiqizo ikwande iphuma evela.
Considerable achievements articulated by Mr. Lee Mvuleni Ongangeni, some of them building mother tree tunnels, expanded the plant tissue culture laboratory from increasing capacity of seedling production, the Malkans, completed transplanting 225 hectares fruit trees. Kuna banana, kuna 10.5 hectares with pitaya, nema guava, nema strawberries now. Labambe ma hectares is less significant. Ngifuna ngena la kutheni we have given banana some spotlight. I do see the appetite, particularly emakethe. Banana ngaseshiselwe lekubomhloshe nje bengendluli ngingamthenga banana. Siyamthanda banana. Let's talk about strawberries, guavas, and pitaya. I don't even know what pitaya is.
Pitaya, nginakule sithi stolofia. Through the project is introduced when I pitaya besingayat. It started off at a very low peak because farmers didn't know about it. But gradually as it continues, it go to the hype. You go to all the supermarkets, everyone is crying for pitaya. And now so ayabona nyalo ukuthi people sebakubonile. Recently, baphumile bahamba bomanager baya South Africa. Even in Joburg market, there is a very high hype for pitaya and some of the products lesebenda ngawo. We are hoping ukuthi konke lokho kutaba nemthelela lomuhle emnothweni. Now when it comes to strawberry, that is an area lengathi mine as maybe I forgot to say that as coordinator lo qedza kusebenza kwakhe itolo officially under government.
Congratulations, by the
way. But I'm pleased to say nangibuka indlela strawberry le besisadi but nje kuyinto longathi uyibuka lapha ya ingathi yalabo bantu. But we have seen a very great impact nga strawberry. Some of our farmers, like for the case of farmer lesenhlambeni Mr. Maseko, he's up there in the production. Bakhona ke labanye basangena, bakhona babedlamini na ubheka eBhonya bese nakuthi la na ubheka la Mnyokane ukhona babemavimbela nayilo sakhona, and we happen to work with lomnyemake ulapha eticandweni ngakamanzini. I'm just highlighting those farmers last comparator nabo in the project. Uyabona lokhu kwendekani because nje Maseko is running helter skelter, phoning every day so shoda ngamabhokisi, which we normally do is support to the farmers for, like for the strawberry, the first farmer lesem involved is entitled, depending on the land size, he's entitled to atole from 500 seedlings free. We don't sell these seedlings to the farmers for now on strawberry, but when it comes to banana, because we want to prepare ourselves, because post the project there has to be sustainability, which would be definitely ensured by the continued supply of lama seedlings. So if we say as a country we are not to kill them but to put a little charge, then we would be saying akufena kuhambe eMashayina. But the essence is sustainability becomes important. So we need to, as we work as a project, we need to train the farmers that they have to measure their success. Akuhambelani ngokuthi phela sebayakhona lokunye kutendela, for instance in the case of strawberry. So yathi ukuthi lokho nguthola kuphi sesibaniketa nje leto tinto leti sekhona within the project, but also equipping them ukuthi nasingekho project mabhokisi ayakhona ayathengiswa around, sekungaba ukuthi nje nyalo bana le benefit ukuthi within the project ku cheaper than asebatifunela bona, because I think le bhokisi lekupakisha nje, which is a 250 gram pack, maybe they buy it from the project at 1 emalangeni, but when it's about commercial nakanzo sesebabita about 3 emalangeni. All those things kufanele sithi khona ukuthi measurisha in the project to see ukuthi lama farmers atakhona kuqhubeka akusebende kahle. You touch on the issue of a tissue culture laboratory. I'm pleased to say ukuthi ema plans la khona is actually to convert even the office khona ukuthi all that building is only focused on tissue culture, because talked of 500 hectares, which means there needs to be a lot of seedlings to be produced within a specific time. The current target, especially on banana, is to have 100,000 seeds of banana ready for each planting season, because produced locally, because we do that in stages, in stages. We cannot plant everything all at once, but I'm personally seeing a very great impact through this project when it comes to improving production yema fruits in the country. Angabathi khona tinginamba ngoba la kusenjetwa ngeke hlale, but with a proper focus nekusheshe sibonele etinye tinto, I believe it's the mark is there. I'm excited in strawberry. Farmers. For information, the 250 grams, strawberry. In any of the supermarkets around Matsapa, even in here in Babane, even in Ezulwini, it's going for 25 emalangeni currently. That's what the farmers are selling. So you can imagine a kg of strawberry only 100 emalangeni. You see, I feel like it is.
No, it makes sense. I think usakhuluma nje sisibuya COVID-19 ivuleni uhulumende wethu ubese wakhalihlaka lokufukula umnotho post COVID-19. Kule recovery strategy kube sekuthola ema main sectors la dasita kufukula umnotho, agriculture bilapha edu. Sibukana kutekulima ke siyabo ukuthi kutasita kangakanani ekutheni sikhole nekuthengisela umakhelwane. Nizaba nje lo satsinzile donga. I'm confident. By the way, I wanted to congratulate you. Msebenzini lo wendile asositshelele ukuthi retired. Congratulations. Siyabona lo ukuthi le project itawukhonza engisho selendlulile endlulile sibonga kakhulu isikhathi sakho lo mhla ekseni ngalo mhla sibahlola emakethe masinyane sitabuya sibale hlelo.
uyezwana uyezwana uthokandaba emagumbamane omhlaba ngemandla sibaya esigodlweni elitsitsini mhlati ngemashumi lamabili nakutsatfu imbala usho njalo ke mswazi omnyama kulaba luthuli ulodunganzaba wasembelebeleni ulodunganzaba wasemambondweni uduma phasi bakuzwe ngezingcingo msakandaba bakuzwa ngezingcingo bayakubalekela bayethe wena waphakathi
Kwesevele ishayina insimbi esiphohlongo sesivele sanivalelisa sibongile ukuthi nibe naso lamhla ekuseni. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely day. Sale kahle.